In this video, we're going to establish triplanar diagnosis for the typical cervical spine from C2 down to C7. This is going to work in largely the same way as it did in the thoracic and lumbar spine, but our contact is going to be slightly different because we can contact the neck more laterally than we can in the rest of the spine. So, as with all triplanar diagnosis, our three directions are side bending, rotation, inflection, and extension. As with the rest of the the rest of the vertebrae, we want to assess motion in all three of those planes to establish a triplanar diagnosis. Again, we need to establish what level we are at. We have a few ways to do that. One is we can feel the lowest cervical segment and have flex and extend the head and see if that moves. The lowest segment that moves when you lift the head up and down is going to be C7. Or we can press up underneath the occiput and feel for a spinous process, and the first spinous process that we can feel below the occiput is C2, and you can count your way down from there, or you can find C7 and count your way up from there to get to your ultimate level. In his case, let's take a typical segment. We'll take C2, C3, C4. So we'll take the C4 segment. We can come just lateral to that spinous process. That's going to put us in contact with the articular pillars. We can press up on the right and press up on the left and check rotation of that segment. Again, whichever side is more prominent or posterior is the side of rotation. In his case, his C4 is rotated to the left. Then we can check side bending. We can generally do that by checking translation. So we come up to the lateral portion of C4, we're going to contact the transverse process, and we're going to translate one direction and then the other direction. And again, he translates well to the right, which is going to correspond with side bending to the left. So his C4 is rotated to the left and side bent to the left, which follows the general guidelines for cervical motion. And then finally, we want to check for flexion and extension. So we're going to look at those landmarks that we've already established, and we're going to take the spine and flex it slightly to the level of C4. When I flex his spine, his asymmetry improves. He now translates symmetrically in both directions. He also rotates evenly in both directions. If I arch his neck up into extension, that asymmetry is back and actually worse in terms of translation, and it's also worse in rotation. So based off of those findings, we would say that his triplanar diagnosis is C4 is flexed, side bent to the left, and rotated to the left. In the typical cervical spine, segments can be flexed or extended or neutral, so it's important to make sure that you check this plane because these don't follow rules all the time, and so you can't make any assumptions about what the segment is or isn't doing. Then you would repeat that process for any other segment that you found to arrive at a complete cervical somatic dysfunction diagnosis.